Hello guys and welcome to my new video, and today we'll be talking about my plans for patch 9.1.5 in terms of my healers. And this video is going to be aimed at new players returning, if there's any. If you're looking to play a new healer, if you're looking to experience patch or the new patch as a healer with a weirder combo of covenants, because in 9.1.5 you can kinda swap between covenants freely. You still have to grind out a certain amount of renown, but running Torghast, doing the PvP brawl might be the best way to do it. But what is my plan? What healers I find really fun and what covenants am I going to swap to in 9.1.5? Let's go! So this might sound really biased, but if you are going to return to 9.1.5 and you want to push Mythic Plus or trying to do really competitive Mythic Plus, and all of a sudden you want to get that achievement, I have to talk about Kyrian Resto Shaman. Kyrian Resto Shaman, in my opinion, is one of the easiest healers that you can get really competitive results. This is why I played, because I'm just bad. But Kyrian Vesper Totem, Mika Nikos combo, you're getting Vesper Totem on a 40-second cooldown if you use it on a trash pack. It provides a ton of damage. Keep in mind, if you're going Kyrian Resto Shaman, there's no point of going Kyrian without the Kyrian specific legendary, because the majority of your damage comes from this overpowered, overtuned legendary. So make sure to get Kyrian specific legendary, and Resto Shaman in Mythic Plus. The amount of DPS, the healing you're going to get. You have to remember, Vesper Totem has 3 charges. 3 DPS charges and 3 healing charges. And all of this is going to go into your Cloudburst, which basically fits the whole meta of doing damage and healing at the same time. And the damage is insane, guys. Honestly, I know I say this a lot, but getting good numbers for not a huge amount of effort is still very, very fun. Have to say, Kyrian Resto Shaman, a must try for anyone doing Mythic Plus and 9.1.5, and they're getting a small buff with their Potency Conjured as well. Now, my plan for my Resto Shaman in raiding is going to be very, very different. I know Necrolord is the safe bet. I've played Necrolord Resto Shaman for a long time. This is why I'm going to be trying out Night Fae Transfusion, which your Night Fae specific Covenant legendary, which each pulse of Fae Transfusion damage effect reduces the cooldown of Healing Tide Totem and gives you crit. So now with this legendary, and again, don't look at my soul binds, I'm basically testing on PTR. I wanted to get Heavy Rainfall and I wanted to get Essential Extraction, which I'm still not sure if I'm going to be using. If you want to see more of Night Fae Resto Shaman kind of build ideas, don't worry, there's going to be a video coming out very soon after I test it out more. But the reason I'm going to try out Night Fae is because in raid situations where you get 20 members, maybe in heroic situations where you get 30 members, your healing tide, more healing tides are going to lead an insane amount of HPS if you can use it properly. So if you use your healing tide, you'll notice you'll get Heavy Rainfall, which again makes your healing rain really, really big. This is also my healing tide totem duration. So what happens is that if you use your Phalanx Transfusion and your damage effect hits members, and we'll do this in this case, look at the cooldown of my healing tide. It's lowering by a substantial amount. It's about 2 minutes now, and my Phalanx Transfusion is about 1.5 minute cooldown. So I can use Phalanx Transfusion again to lower the cooldown of healing tide. And I'm gonna get more healing tides, I'm gonna get more heavy rainfalls. I can put that into my Cloudburst, and all of a sudden this could have some hidden potential. I've checked out at least a certain amount of raid bosses in Sanctum Domination where with our kill times, around 50% of the bosses I could squeeze in an additional healing tide by using this legendary, at least 1 healing tide, which could lead to more heavy rainfalls, more healing, and some juicy HPS, especially in large raid groups. So, my plan for raid, Night Fae Resto Shaman, and in Mythic Plus, I really kinda advise you to try out Kyrian Resto Shaman, because you're missing out on a really fun healer that is extremely interesting to play. Now Restoration Druid, and honestly there is quite a few different covenants for Resto Druid that I'm willing to try out, and all of them are going to be Mythic Plus, because in raids you're basically set for Night Fae. Night Fae is just far too attractive in raids to swap away from it. I'm a little bit bored of Convoke the Spirits because I've been using it throughout the whole Shadowlands. So for my Resto Druid, I'm probably going to be trying out Kyrian, and a lot of people have talked about Kyrian and the viability of Kyrian of Mythic Plus or high-end Mythic Plus because of the hidden potential of your Kindred Affinity legendary. This is the Kyrian specific legendary. Again, the ability Kindred Spirits seems really fun, but also very confusing for a lot of people. So I want to try it out. I want to see how it goes. I want to see the hidden potential, or be this kind of a support healer or Resto Druid that provides good damage and also supports the DPS in the group which makes it interesting. My initial idea was to try out Necro, because Necro was getting some quality of life improvements in 9.1.5. Also, with Draft Legendary, with Feral Affinity, you would kind of be this really good single target priority DPS. Well, when I say really good, I'm saying improved single target DPS. Resto Druid's DPS is still somewhat lackluster when you compare it to Kieran, Resto Shaman, or Venti, Holy Paladin, but it could be really fun. So, my Resto Druid ideas for 9.1.5 probably go the mainstream Kyrian, because I know there's going to be a bunch of Resto Druids in Mythic Plus trying out Kyrian. I might jump on this bandwagon, try it out and see how it goes. If I have more time to grind out Necro, I might try out Necro. I really do say that Resto Druid could use some love in terms of the healer DPS or even healer niche. But I think Resto Druid with these covenants could be a fun way to spend the time in World of Warcraft. And now we're gonna go to healers, where I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of changes, but my plan for Holy Paladin is still to stay Vent here. I'm still going to be that Ashen Hallow bot. Ashen Hallow is still a very fun ability. If you optimize it, you can see some really good numbers. Who doesn't like to be a DPS for Ashen Hallow's duration? Like, you're basically a DPS player. But I had a lot of hopes for Necro, because Necro received some substantial buffs, but I don't think those buffs are going to be enough, so keep your ear to the ground in terms of the next couple of weeks. Maybe they're going to try and push Necro a bit more, but in my opinion, Holy Paladin, everyone's still going to be Vent here. It's still, in my opinion, the most rewarding covenant, because it is so strong and you need to make sure to know when to use it. I know a lot of people are going to say you just press it every 4 minutes and that's it, but if you misuse it, you're kind of screwed. So it is relatively easy if you know what you're doing, but if you don't, you're gonna have a really bad time. I might try out Kieran Holy Paladin. Now, I've talked about Kieran, I've talked about Mechanicals and like Mythic Plus and things like that. It would be fun to try it, but I don't think it's worth the time investment that it'll take me to grind out like 4 healers to get Kieran, which in my eyes is more stable and more healing. How do I say it? A more safer option, but it doesn't really provide as much damage, and I still feel Venti might be a more interesting choice. I'm waiting for that Necro buffs. Further Necro buffs could be really fun. If Necro becomes good option or a viable option or an interesting option, I'm going Necro Paladin straight away, because again, I want to try something new. Now we're going to go to Mistweaver Monk, and honestly this is going to be the shortest section ever, because I've already done a video on Mistweavers. I've already done a video where I was testing out 9.1.5 changes in terms of the covenants, in terms of the class buffs, and I just feel it's just gonna be Ventier all the way. Ventier for raids, Ventier for Mythic Plus. The fact that you need to invest a certain amount of time to swap away from Ventier if you want to try out and squeeze out like extra 500 or 1k DPS doesn't feel like it's worth the effort, when Ventier is so strong in HPS and pretty decent in DPS. I don't think I'm gonna spend a lot of time trying out. Like, my first option would have been Night Fae to try out Feline Stomp, because it is so fun. But the reward, I don't think it's worth my time. So Ventier, I'm gonna stick Ventier with Mistweaver Monk in 9.1.5 unless something changes. And the last healer, and this is going to be Priest. And honestly, Priest Discipline has been one of the most fun healers that I've played in a long time. Honestly, Discipline is such a fun healer. I really kind of advise people to try out. If you enjoy this damage, or your damage converted into healing playstyle, Discipline is the way to go. I've been playing a lot of Kieran Discipline Priest in Mythic Plus, and honestly, the reason I've been playing Discipline Priest in Mythic Plus is because of Kieran, because of Boon of the Ascended. The fact you can combine it with Mechanicals, your Kieran specific legendary, and now you have a 1 minute Boon of the Ascended, which you can use every trash pack or every second trash pack, is pretty insane. So my love for Discipline Priest has been rekindled by Kieran. So if you're not playing Kieran, or if you're kind of not playing your Discipline Priest and you don't want to play Discipline Priest for whatever reasons, I urge you to try out Kieran, Boon of the Ascended, Kieran specific legendary, Mechanicals in Mythic Plus. I can guarantee you're gonna have a lot of fun. Now, if you do want to play Holy Priest, there's not a lot of things that change of Holy Priest. You're still using Flash Concentration. This build, Flash Concentration, was really fun when I first tried out, but it has really become, to some extent, a bit boring. The fact that you have, you kind of have a chore of maintaining this buff, and if you drop it off, you lose a bunch of mana trying to get it back up, and I kind of fallen out of Holy Priest over the last couple of maybe patches or expansions in terms of the playability. I don't think they're bad healers. I don't think they're not interesting, but I feel Discipline, in my opinion, feels a lot more rewarding. But Holy is really not a bad kind of healer that you can try out, especially for new players. And the fact that you can run something like Nightway right now and provide this kind of like a support healer role to some extent, like here in Resto Druid, I think it can be really, really valuable. But I am going to be sticking with Kyrian Discipline Priest or Kyrian Priest in general because I'm just having so much fun with Discipline. And this is my overview of what I'm doing in 9.1.5 in terms of my healer covenants. I would really love to know what is your plan for 9.1.5, what covenants you're going to be trying out. Maybe I'll try out something weird like a Holy Paladin that's Nightway and use the blessings on someone in raid just to buff their damage, because it can be somewhat, not overpowered, but it can provide a lot of external DPS to that player who gets the blessings, and you can kind of sell it. 20k gold for my blessing in raids or something. But let me know, what are your plans? Let me know if there is some weird covenant choice that you really want to try out on your healer, and it might work, it might not. We're not looking at the most optimal builds. We're looking at builds that, you know, you can still play in high-end Mythic Plus or high-end raiding, but you can still have a lot of fun and something different to try out, especially during this content drought. Let me know, guys, and I'll see you in my next video.